I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a roll call of the officers, please.
Treasurer Kowski.
Here.
Clerk Kimball.
Here.
Treasurer Jackson.
Here.
Trustee Riley.
Here.
Trustee Lopers.
Here.
Trustee Deland.
Here.
Trustee Bowen.
Here.
All right, we have the agenda in front of us. Anyone have any changes, corrections, or additions to the agenda? Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
All right, motion by trustee Deland. Do we have support?
I'll support.
Doing support, we'll go with Bowen this time. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none, that motion carries. Moving on to the minutes from the February 3rd meeting. Changes or corrections to that? Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as printed.
Motion by trustee Bowen, do we have support?
Support.
Support by trustee Riley. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none, that motion carries. Moving on to consent agenda, we have disbursements totaling $939,631.58. Questions on any of those?
I have a question. On page 6, that fosters with legal fees, is our attorney in with that group, or is?
No, this was for something separate. So we, and this was a board-approved action probably a year and a half ago related to Act 233, which was the solar act. And we were joining a lawsuit along with multiple municipalities related to the state's interpretation of that legislation.
I remember that now. And then on page 7, at the very top, there was a drain at large, 61,800. Was that for like the special assessment or something?
It is, yeah, that's the township's portion of those drain districts.
And we do that every year, don't we?
We do.
Yeah, okay. All right. That's all I have.
Any other discussion on that?
I just wondered if I could get copies of the UHY invoices, because I'm just seeing a lot of
Yeah,
them.
you can stop in anytime you want and grab this.
Okay.
Yep. Any other questions? All right, do we have a motion on the disbursements?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda and communications in the amount of $939,631.58 and pay the bills and file.
All right, motion by Treasurer Jackson. Do we have support?
I'll support.
Support by Clerk Rubel. Any further discussion? Roll call on that, please.
Treasurer Jackson.
Yes.
Clerk Kimball.
Yes.
Supervisor Kowski.
Yes.
Trustee Riley.
Yes.
Trustee Lopers.
Yes.
Trustee Deland.
Yes.
And Trustee Bowen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Shamrock Shakes are back at McDonald's. All right, moving on to boards and commissions. We have 4 of those tonight. We have the County Road Commission minutes from January 21st, the agenda for February 5th, and then agenda for February 17th, along with Planning Commission minutes from January 27th. Questions or comments on any of those?
I got a question. I don't know if this is the right time to do it or not, but I see like on our agenda, we spend a lot on fuel and stuff for not only DPW, but for the fire department. Would we save any money if we had our own fuel tank or something? Like,
That's a good question. I guess we could look into that.
I would just, you see, you know, and stuff like that. I was just wondering what we would save. on that if we bought it all ourselves.
Okay, we'll take a look at that.
That's all. I don't even know if that was the right time to ask it.
All right, anything else on boards and commissions? All right, do we have a motion to receive and file?
I'll make the motion that we receive and file the boards and commission minutes.
All right, we have a motion by trustee Deland. Do we have support?
I'll support,
Go ahead.
I'll support.
Support by trustee Bowen. Any further discussion on those? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none, that motion carries. Public comment tonight? Okay. It's the first one there?
Hello, everyone. My name is Anthony Paolella. I live at 1636 Allen Road, just north of Ashley. I have a prepared statement here that I would like to read. I have it broken up into parts. Just to maintain the board's full attention, I will be asking questions at the end of each part instead of just saving it all for the end.
So it's a public comment period, so you come up and you give public comment.
So questions at a different time then? Or?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to ask questions, you can come into the township office and ask questions. Usually there's just a comment period for these, but if there's something we can answer for you, we can certainly answer them for you.
They
Okay?
are brief questions.
Okay.
As I previously stated, my name is Anthony. I'm sure we're all aware of the recent water main break that occurred here within the township. My reason for being here tonight is not regarding the water main break itself. I'm well aware that this time of year, water main breaks are going to happen. That's just part of where we live. But the things I wanted to bring up and address are mainly in regards to communication and preparedness. The first thing that I would like to bring up is the different townships that were affected, the times that they were warned, and the messages that were given. For example, on February 9th at 4:11 p.m., Port Huron Township posted on their public Facebook page that the water was going to be shut off in their township for roughly 2 to 24 hours. And then I noticed that they were the first municipality to post a 36-hour boil water advisory. So the first question that I had for the board was, where did Port Huron Township get this information if it's known?
So we don't have anyone that works for Port Huron Township, so you would have to ask Port Huron Township. I'm not really sure.
I understand.
At 3:15,
At
The announce-
4:11 p.m., ma'am.
at 3:15, the announcement went across the Winds Emergency Management of St. Clair County. It stated Kimball Township and Clyde Township residents, water will be shut off south of Griswold at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, 2/10 of '26 for 24 to 48 hours. A boil alert will be in effect when the service is restored. For updates, visit Kimball Township Facebook or website. That's the
Wow.
only information we gave out.
Well, I'm very glad that you brought that up, ma'am, because the next part of my prepared statement here was Port Huron Township, mind you, this was roughly 20 minutes prior, posted a 36-hour boil water advisory, but according to my notes, this township, I did not have winds at the time, but on their public Facebook page, this township's public Facebook page, the township posted that water was going to be shut off for roughly 6 to 36 hours. A boil water advisory was going to be in effect, but there wasn't a specific time listed for the boil advisory.
Right, that's correct, because you don't know what the time frame is on the boil advisory.
So, okay, so,
So a boil advisory, maybe you're not familiar with how it works.
no, sir.
We have to test the water every 24 hours. Depending on how those results come back, what determines on how long that boil water lasts, right? So there's no set time on a boil water. Yeah, I mean, there's no time frame on it.
Okay, well, so is each township then responsible for figuring out their own boiled water advisory?
Well, I'm not sure why, so first of all, Port Huron Township wasn't affected by this at all. So I'm not sure why Port Huron Township was posting anything, right? I don't control, we don't control Port Huron Township's social media.
I
We
understand.
don't have anything to do with it. If they post something, they post something. Maybe they were trying to help, and which is great. I mean, I'm glad that they want to help out. But yeah, I'm not sure why they would post that, to be honest
Well,
with you. So,
would that same reasoning also go into Clyde Township? Because Clyde posted a very similar message as well.
yeah, I mean, Clyde Township should have just followed our postings, what they should have done. I mean, because they're on the same water system.
Okay.
We
Because-
provide water to Clyde.
Okay, because
But again, we don't control Clyde Township's social media. We have nothing to do with Clyde Township social media. We have nothing to do with Port Huron Township social media. We send out the same information, and what everyone does with it, it's up to them.
Well, I guess my main question is, you had two municipalities posting or advising their citizens of a 36.
Well, Port Huron Township shouldn't advise, yeah, I mean, there are a couple of residents on our water in Port Huron Township, but yeah, just on range, there's a couple.
Well, I guess my main question, sir, is you had Port Huron and Clyde posting about a boil advisory, but this township specifically did not post a 36-hour boil advisory.
And again, that's because boil advisories are not time frame. Why would we put out misinformation?
We were just advising the residents that the water was going to be shut off at this
Yeah,
point.
I mean, a boil water, again, it's dependent on the tests that come back. So to post that it's going to be a certain time frame really makes no sense.
Okay.
I mean, and we've got information on our site that explains all that. We've got the CDC information on our website that explains how they work, that kind of help people understand what those things are. But,
Okay.
yeah, there's no set time on it. I mean, generally, it's going to be 48 hours, generally.
Okay.
As long as the tests come back good. If one of those tests come back with any questions, then it delays it a little bit longer.
Okay, well, as someone who does not work for the township, I obviously did not know that
Yeah.
information, so. I guess the last thing I would like to say on the record is, I would like to give my appreciation to the fire department for providing an informational graph on what to boil water for, what to use caution for, and when not to boil water. And I would like to give my appreciation to the board for allowing me to come.
Thank you. Appreciate the comments and appreciate you coming and asking those questions.
Thank you, sir.
I know, Gary, you had a great question because a lot of people had posted as well about time frame and that sort of thing. So one of the challenges on a water main break is you don't know what's broke.
Well,
You know,
correct me if I'm
it's
wrong,
underground,
I
right?
remember Becky saying it was actually wear and tear. It wasn't because of the weather, right? It was just a leak.
It was a leak that the guys couldn't even start digging it until Monday.
Yeah.
In fact, I got pictures to show you guys so you can see that. And once they got down, they could only get down so far, but they still didn't know on Monday how bad it was. But it took us from Thursday, the week before, till Monday to figure out, because we had to have a certain company come in, and they ended up coming in from out of Shelby Township, okay? So in order to get all the machinery and that we had to have, it took us till Monday. Tuesday, they came in at 9 o'clock and started digging. That we didn't know exactly what the extent of it was until probably about 10 o'clock in the morning, between 10 and 11. They were still digging because of how deep they had to go. Of course, they had to make the hole wider. The hole, it was a coupling that was a 3/4 inch coupling that blew. The guys were able to stop it by putting something in the hole. And then they had to go back and dig completely underneath it. Now, remember how frozen the ground is at this point. It was quite an extensive amount of digging that they had to do. They couldn't start even trying to fix it probably until about noonish. They ended up bringing a welder in, and the welder was able to weld it to a plate. And then they had to build up the weld to make it the thickness of the cement, so it fit the certain standard. They were able to go from a 3/4 inch to a 2-inch coupling. That was our best case scenario. Our worst case scenario, which I've got the piece of equipment that they brought along with them in the truck, was cutting out a section of the cement, 20-inch cement, cutting the section out and putting this sleeve around it to be able to fix it. That was our worst case scenario. Had that happened, we would have been probably 3 or 4 days at that point instead of the 2 days.
When did we make our first public announcement? Because I know at the
Monday at 3:15.
yeah, so like literally the day before you let the board know, right? So 'cause you let us know the 3rd, so you let the public know the 2nd. So yeah, I mean,
No, that's wrong. That's
we were
wrong.
made aware of it the 3rd.
You were made aware of it. We knew
We
something.
knew there was an issue, we
there
didn't know
was
what
an
the issue was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of part of the problem, is, when you have something underground, you have no idea. First of all, you don't even know if it's your issue. it could have been a service lead coming off the line as opposed to our line. It could have been a whole number of things. You just know that there's an issue there because there's water and it's cold, so there shouldn't be water, right? So there's an issue. You have no idea what the issue is until you actually dig. And then once you dig, then you have an understanding of what the issue is. And then you can make, announcements. Prior to that, you don't even know if,
You're stabbing in the dark.
yeah, it could be anything, really.
It's true, because the first time I noticed it, Jason was out there digging with a shovel. And it was so close to a fire hydrant, I just drove by and thought maybe the fire hydrant had broke.
Yeah.
Is there any way we can, I mean, just moving forward, is there any way we can make, not to cause an uprise of, people blowing things out of proportion, like maybe a beware notice, like, hey, so you know.
Well,
know.
normally when we
So I think
have,
that's what he's concerned. That's what I've taken. He just wanted a general, hey, by the way, like, I
well,
think
that's exactly what we did, Gary. We normally don't advise the residents until the day of when we start digging.
Okay.
But we knew that this was our main 20-inch line that fed from the city of Port Huron to our water tower.
Sure.
It was a big deal. And so we could have waited until Tuesday morning to let people know we're going to shut their water off. I wouldn't want that done to me, and I'm sure you wouldn't want that done to you.
Sure.
So I was trying to prepare people to the point where I had to wait until Monday to know that we had all this machinery coming in. I couldn't have done it any sooner than that.
Wasn't it unusual too, the way it was tied into the cement?
No, not
No?
really, not really. We were just very, very lucky. Had that hole been, when water passes through cement, it obviously makes the hole bigger. So that hole, if it had been any bigger, we would have been replacing that piece.
No kidding.
Yeah, we were just very lucky,
Okay, cool.
very, very lucky.
Thank
But
you.
I've got the service announcements that Wynn's put across. I have everything if you want to see it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, there was some other public comment?
Eric Zobel, 322 Eileen Avenue. Part of my thoughts stem somewhat from that same thing too, so I won't expand on that too much, but I know that, I would like to back up 1 second though. You mentioned that you typically would just do it on the day of, but you did it a day sooner. Is there a reason why it can't be even sooner than that?
Usually, we find the water main break, and usually our DPW is able to go out there that day to
Oh.
take care of it.
Okay.
So
The only
until,
reason I was thinking is that, because I think, and I wasn't at the last board meeting, but I did see the meeting minutes from it. It seemed like you knew, like, the
we
week
knew there was
before.
we knew there was
You
a
knew there was a
problem, but
problem,
we
but you
didn't know
didn't
what
know
it
what.
was.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, so
Okay.
normally, normally you're not dealing with a 20-inch
Yeah.
transmission line, right? So normally, we see water or someone reports water, we go out, we dig it up, we fix it, right? In this case, it wasn't going to happen that way exactly, because there was a possibility all along that it was that
Size.
transmission line and
Yeah.
the size of that line. And we couldn't, it wasn't something we could service ourselves, we had to have someone else service it, so.
Okay. So, all of that obviously just kind of stemming from just people speaking out because it seemed like they were caught off guard and just looking for ways to get better communication, whatever that means. My first thing was, I actually did sign up for that WINS thing quite a while ago, and that helped me out, but just speaking with our neighbors around the area, a lot of them didn't have that. Might be worthwhile to just kind of broadcast that again, or maybe periodically to tell people to sign
Yeah,
up
so
for
we
that.
used to have, so that system has changed quite a bit in how it's operated. So it used to be that we had access to that system. So we could literally physically go in there and make changes. Well, then they dropped the subscription and went with something else. And so we were having to make calls. Well, then they went back to the WIN system. So, yeah, it's a great idea. A lot of people had mentioned that they didn't have, so we got some messages via Facebook and other things, so I sent them the link to
Yeah,
sign
I
up
saw
for it,
that.
which is on our site, but, it's
Yeah.
kind of in the water.
Well, where I'm really
section.
going with that is kind of maybe repost it on the website
Yeah.
too, but what I first wanted to speak about was the website itself. I think, when I went there kind of after the fact, when I got the notice to see what else was being said about it, and had a very hard time finding it, which is not uncommon for our website. It just seems like, it could use some
What were you looking for that you couldn't?
Well,
find?
so I just went to look for the public notification about it, and the one that I saw over on the news thing was actually the previous one from January that was on there, and that was odd, was
So it
it an
does
old
take,
date, but I
yeah,
clicked
so
on
it does take a little bit of time for those to post. That is one of the things that,
Yeah,
for the website, so there's 3 people in the office that can post things to the website. They don't have access to go in and change formatting and design and postings and things like that. They actually send in an email, and they email, and then we have a job that runs once an hour that looks for those emails, grabs certain information off that email, which tells it where to post. So it's going to take probably anywhere from half an hour to an hour before those things post on the website. So,
Okay.
and then the other issue is, you've always got caching is always another issue with websites. So basically, anytime you visit a website, it stores a copy of that page on your device, whatever the device is. Next time you go there, often it's going back to that particular
Yeah.
page and grabbing the same thing. So if you don't refresh your screen, it's going
Well,
to show you the same
found that
information.
as well too,
Yeah.
and related to that, so I click on any of those links over there, and it kind of froze up on me. Tried it on a different device and did the same thing, so I closed it out, restarted it, and I could get like one step further, but it just was, sometimes some of the links don't really seem to be working or going anywhere. I have seen some instances of some old information on there. I think I pointed that out at one point. As of last week anyways, I happened to look, I see, doesn't even list our current board members on there, by the way. But so just different things like that. I know you have on the agenda your IT services thing, and I don't know if the website is really part of that or if it's kind of a separate thing, but just as a whole, I think the website it's not very user-friendly. It's got some kinks in it, and just better
Okay.
communication, I think, is worth looking into. All right,
All
thank
right,
you.
thank you.
Can I also make a statement? I'm going to anyway. Our staff also called all the restaurants in Kimball Township, and they also called the schools to make them aware of everything that was going on all the time. So I feel that our staff did a fantastic job trying to keep everybody communicated.
All right, so next item on our agenda is comments regarding the desired improvements to the property that we purchased on the Black River. So a couple things have happened along those lines. Another trust fund grant period is coming up. Submissions have to be made by April 1st. Our engineers are currently working on a plan to include access to the site, a parking lot, a pavilion, some handicap accessible spaces, and then a handicap walkway to get from the parking lot to the riverbank, along with the kayak and canoe launch. So at some point in time here, hopefully next meeting, we'll have some numbers to look at for that. In the meantime, the Community Foundation has approved for their staff to help us work on that application. I don't know if some of you may be familiar with Kim Harmer, but Kim does a lot of grant writing, so she is going to provide that service to us at no cost. So I met with her last week. I've started providing her as much information as we can related to that. But we'll take any comments regarding the improvements. So this would be a grant, instead of purchasing, which is what our last grant was, this would be making the improvements so that it's usable. I wasn't quite sure, and one of the reasons we hesitated originally on that was because we still haven't been awarded the money for the actual purchase yet. That's still got to go through legislature, which generally there's no issues with that. But that grant period's going to close before that money gets issued. DNR did say, though, that we could still apply for the grant. So we did get approval on that.
How long is our purchase agreement good for?
It's good through the end of this calendar year, through 26.
Did we ever hear back from that household that has a driveway on the property?
I did send them a letter explaining, that, we wouldn't be able to part that property in any way. Once it's becomes a public property like that through the trust fund grant, we can't, it has to stay that way. And then it doesn't allow for, the grant agreement is not going to allow for any private use at all. So I haven't heard back from it.
And then, here's a thought. I met the guy that owns the lavender farm.
Mhm.
He was wanting to get in touch with you because he had a question. He was curious if it would be at all possible to rezone a certain part of his lavender farm, because he potentially might want to build a home there. So he wanted to reach out to you and pick your brain on that potential.
That's not buildable. It's floodplains.
Yeah, that was his question.
Yeah, I can't see, yeah. That'd be a bad spot.
For sure.
Be a bad spot.
Well, I've spoken on this before, the idea of putting that down there. I think if anybody goes through that area a lot, sees the way people park and have to walk through, up that way, I mean, it's a hazard, plus it's a traffic hazard when you try to pull out of there. But, and you'll see them carrying them down there,
Right.
But to me, I think it's going to be a real asset. I know the one that Porter Township did years ago is similar.
Yeah.
But that thing, it's tremendous how many people use that. And I think it's going to be really approved. I think that's an excellent program.
Okay. Any other comments on that? All right, we'll move on to administrative staff. So last meeting, I had to let you know that, and I can't even remember names now, so Raquel called us the next day and said, well, you know what, I was interviewing for another job at the same time, and I got the other job, and we confirmed with her she was taking the other job. So we called Molly. Molly also had found another job already, so so we're kind of back to square one. Treasurer Jackson did reach out to the temp agency that we used. They sent us somebody over. And I think, did we have her resume last meeting? I think we did. So we met with her on Wednesday of last week and interviewed her. It was an interesting interview, so we didn't feel like she would be the best fit. So that kind of left us kind of back at square one. I did ask Clerk Rubel to reach out to Kimberly, what was her last name?
Allison.
Kimberly Allison, to see if she was still available. She would be available. Obviously, she's got to give 2 weeks' notice for her current job, but right now, I mean, it's been since November that we've had that spot open. Obviously, at times, we've had temps in that spot to help us along, but it'd be nice to get somebody in that spot. They're going to have to help us with elections and other things, and we're getting close to the deadline on elections, so we need to move forward with something. My recommendation is that we just go back to Kimberly Allison. I know that the board didn't approve that the first time, but I think we should reconsider that. Comments or thoughts, anybody?
What was the name again, please?
Kimberly Allison.
Allison.
If she's still available.
She is, yeah. She would obviously have to give 2 weeks at her current job, but she would be.
If she's qualified, seems like we need a qualified candidate.
All right, any other comments, thoughts?
You want to make a motion on it?
Yeah, we do need a motion on it.
Okay, I'll make a motion. I make a motion that we'll reconsider Kimberly Allison, give her a call and offer her the job.
All right, do we have support on that?
I'll support.
All right, motion by trustee Lokers, support by trustee Bowen. Any further discussion on that? Roll call on that, please.
Trustee Wilkers,
Yes.
trustee Bowen,
Yes.
supervisor Yuzekowski,
Yes.
clerk Rubel,
Yes.
treasurer Jackson,
Yes.
trustee Riley,
Yes.
trustee Deland,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right, next we have our budget summary. This is what we'll be posting publicly for people. We will have a public hearing at our next board meeting related to the budget. Anyone have any thoughts, comments, suggestions, questions? Now would be a good time to address those so that we can modify that prior to the public hearing. Anyone at all? Yep, go
I'm
ahead.
gonna ask them.
Sure.
So we've been spending an awful lot of money on this outside bookkeeping, the UH.
Mhm,
line.
yep.
And I don't think we budgeted for any of that.
Right.
So is it kind of wrapped up now, or are we gonna have to budget for it, or spend a lot of money?
Yeah, I think we're gonna, I mean, obviously, this was not, I think, we talked about this before, we need to include limits on any future motions to engage with them. I do think we still need to engage with them. I mean, there's a lot of changes that the state of Michigan made that we are not capable, as our 95% of townships are not capable of doing some of the requirements that the state of Michigan has made for us. So they do need to come in and help us with those
Yeah,
things.
And I know
so.
that, that we used to bring them in prior to our audit
Mhm, yep.
and stuff, but now it's reconciling accounts and. it
Yeah,
just
hopefully the
seems like
changes that
maybe
we've made over the last several months are taking care of that.
With the state making things difficult, do they have the sincerity to offer money to help pay for these things?
It's a great question.
I mean, it's
I
not
really
just
wish there
us.
was.
I don't think that most townships have, like.
No, I mean, so the reality is, what we're supposed to do is, we're supposed to, that booklet that we get every year from the auditors, we're supposed to make that ourselves, right? So, I mean.
It seems like it's a highly skilled
Yeah,
trade.
there's like
so that's what we
maybe
pay.
5% of all municipalities have the ability and staff to actually do that. So it's kind of a ridiculous notion to think
Yeah.
that.
Does MTA help with things like that too?
I mean, they'll help with things, but there's
Collaborate?
no way that they could possibly provide enough support to make that work.
Do we know municipalities that are strongest with it, that where we could reach out to them and say, hey,
City of Port Huron is the only one that I know of that actually
Really?
does their own, yeah. Any other questions?
The only concern I have is, we have people in a position that's supposed to be able to do these things. Do your reconciling and everything, but they're kind of not wanting to do it. So that's what bothers me the most.
Well, I think,
So it
in
costs
Treasurer Jackson,
$90,000.
yeah, we've talked about this several times. I mean, part of the problem is the way, your department is handling certain transactions, and the way you're notating them makes it difficult to reconcile. And there's solutions that we've come up with, and UHY has provided solutions that we should probably follow that'll make that reconciliation a lot smoother.
The solution is to take the deposit report each day and match that up, because any changes on the deposit report are written on there.
Well, they shouldn't be. I mean, ideally, what should happen is your general ledger, you should be able to print a report, and it should match your bank statement. If it doesn't,
You
then.
won't do that when you get checks that won't go through the machine.
Right, and so the solution to that is make a separate deposit for those checks, which we've talked about, because then you know that there's two separate deposits that will equal what's in the bank, so.
Which those were always notated on the deposit ticket.
All right, any other questions on budget? All right, moving on to IT services, so we did do some quotes for IT services. It was an interesting result. When I had conversations with IT Right several months ago, they said, look, you're not going to beat our rate. And I guess the thing is, we don't know that until we actually put it out to bid. And so that's what we did. Yeah, that's what we did. So, and let's see down here.
When I was looking through those, I wondered if you could contact RISA for because we use them at the school,
Mhm.
and they do a great job. Like, they're very fast to get out there.
I mean, we had contacted RISA previously, several years ago, and they weren't ready to jump on board with that. It's probably just, I mean, I would guess it's probably a staffing limitation on their end, but. So you have, on page 2 of the IT services, you do have the quotes that we got back. And by the way, both of those proposals looked very comprehensive. They mirror pretty much what we get currently with services. Cluster technology was 43,000 a year, 43,200. Global Solutions Group was 61,745. One of those is located in Madison Heights. The other one was located out of state, but they had a subcontractor that was local. And then we had VC3, which right now is at 13,600. So there's quite a disparity in what we're paying. And basically what VC3 told me is that, hey, you guys are still on the old IT right pricing, and you're just not going to beat it, and they're not kidding. I mean, the closest one was, $29,000 higher. I will reach out to RISA though, again, and see if it's something they're interested in. I mean, it would be nice to have, where we run into problems are just, I think, some of the simpler things where you feel like it should take less time to get a result. And I think part of the problem with VC3 is maybe they just don't have a local subcontractor that can get here and do some of those things for us that we need done.
Have we maybe reached out to maybe some of the other townships and see who they use, or?
I just posted it and kind of let it
Yeah.
see, what happened with it. Just because I wanted some idea of what the pricing was, and honestly, I was a little surprised that it was this much.
I mean, maybe like St. Clair Township and
Yeah,
maybe Port Huron Township and Clyde or something, just say, who are you using and are you happy with them?
and how much are you paying?
Yeah, and then well, I was trying to think, they're kind of smaller, like St. Clair Township. And,
Yeah.
So maybe,
Yeah, I'll definitely do that and find out if we can get some other interest in it, for sure. But I mean, as of right now, I would just recommend that
don't you
we,
hate it when they're right?
yeah.
Right,
Because we had obviously we were paying less than $10,000 prior to IT rights selling out to VC3. So, it was a pretty big jump. And, I was trying to negotiate hard, but they're like, yeah, you're kidding. And I'm like, nah, and they're like, no, you're not going to beat that. So, and I know they had actually reached out. He told me that they had reached out because some of the people that were with IT right are somewhat local. So they know a lot of the IT companies around here. They actually made some phone calls to see what someone around here would be. And they said, yeah, you're going to pay way more. So any questions on that? I mean, you can look over the proposals. They're very comprehensive. These are things that currently we are provided as far as services go. Yeah. We just need somebody I think a little more local. Any questions on that? All right, next we have a resolution for a public hearing. Where is it at?
92. Wait, 92.
Missing 92. My packet's missing.
At the park.
It is 92, yeah. No, actually, yeah, the Parks one dropped off of mine. So this would be a resolution to hold a public hearing because we do have to have an official public hearing for the grant application for the trust fund. So that would be resolution 20-26-01. And that's just authorizing that hearing for the next meeting. Again, we're kind of under a tight deadline, so we need to do it sooner rather than later.
Is it too soon to add the public hearing for the budget too, and have them all?
Yeah, we've already sent in to the newspaper to have that one scheduled, so, yep. So we would just need a motion and support for resolution 2026-01 for the Parks public hearing.
I'll make a motion for resolution 2026-01 for the park.
Motion by Clerk Rubel, do we have support?
Support.
Support by Trustee Riley. Any further discussion? Roll call on that, please.
Clerk Rubel,
Yes.
Trustee Riley,
Yes.
Supervisor Yuzekowski,
Yes.
Treasurer Jackson,
Yes.
Trustee Rogers,
Yes.
Trustee Deland,
Yes.
Trustee Bowen,
Yes.
All right, next we have a resolution to establish election workers' training wage. That's something that we currently don't have. But all of our election workers are required to go through, is it annual training or?
Annually, yes.
every 2 years.
So this resolution would give them pay for actually, attending those, which we should do. We should pay them for going to the training.
We do pay them, and the trainings are up to 3 hours at a time. So it normally costs us anywhere from $42 to $45. By doing this as a flat rate, it's saving the township quite a bit.
Okay. Questions on that resolution? All right, do we have a motion to approve resolution 2026-02?
I'll make the motion that we adopt resolution 2026-2.
All right, motion by trustee Deland, do we have support?
I'll support.
Support by trustee Lokers. Any further discussion? Roll call on that, please.
Trustee Deland,
Yes.
Trustee Rogers,
Yes.
Supervisor Yuzekowski,
Yes.
Clerk Rubel,
Yes.
Treasurer Jackson,
Yes.
Trustee Riley,
Yes.
and Trustee Bowen.
Yes.
All right, next we have the 2026 Little League contract. Standard contract, it basically gives them priority on scheduling of the field so that they can run their practices and games. Usually if someone contacts me about using one of the fields, I'll send them over to Little League so that they can figure out where it's going to work in their schedule. Questions, comments, thoughts on that?
I have a question. So if somebody, if the, staff is open, then somebody using the park could use it? If they call the league and they don't have a game or anything scheduled?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. Other questions? All right, do we have a motion to approve the contract with Little League?
I'll make the motion that we approve the 2026 Little League contract.
All right, motion by trustee Deland, do we have support?
I'll
I'll
support.
Support by trustee Lokers. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none, that motion carries. Any other audience participation tonight? Yep.
Dennis Archman, 1980 Ellen Road. I was just wondering if there's any timeline on that tree.
I haven't
Is
heard
it on
from
a
the,
schedule, somebody's schedule? Like, is it called in to be done, or?
I mean, we just supply paperwork to the road commission,
Oh,
and
they-
we've done that.
Well, they
Yeah.
take care of the,
So as far as, who's doing it and how they're gonna do it, I haven't heard back from the road commission. But I meet with them this week, so,
see, I thought you would call it in, but it's the road commission that calls it.
yeah, we don't have, I mean, it is a road commission project.
Okay, I'll go there then. Thank you.
Any other audience participation? All right, moving on to officers' reports. So speaking of road commission, so Thursday, we do have a road commission meeting. That's over at the road commission office. I want to say it's at 6:30, but let me look and see here. Give me just a second.
5:15 to 6:30.
Yeah, sounds right. Yeah. So anyone's welcome to attend if you want to. I mean, they'll just go over what's going on with the road commission. They'll give us our initial quotes for gravel and chloride, along with talk about any projects that they have going on in the township this year. And then we're working on the plan for the Black River property. We are going to probably include the kayak launch in the pricing that we're going to establish with the application. Simply because, I mean, the county parks has said they're going to give us one. By including it, it kind of firms it up, and then we can shift that money to something else, as things are donated or whatnot. So we're actually applying for 2 grant streams. One is the trust fund, and then there's another Passport to Recreation. So we're going to do this. It's the same process, same timeline. We'll apply for both. We're not going to get both. We'll get one or the other. But that kind of expands our opportunities to get one of the grants. So, and that's all I have. Clerk Rubel.
Did a posting get put up for the library cleaning, Rob?
I'd have to go back and look. I can't remember if it did or not.
Okay. So I'd like to get that wrapped up. And then I was just going to talk about the water main break, which I think we already have, so that's it.
Okay, Treasurer Jackson. You're up.
Okay, as you know, today was the last day to pay your taxes before any penalty or interest is added to it. We actually only add interest here. That interest stays here for the winter taxes. Summer taxes goes back to all the other entities that are leaked. Anyway, as far as, I'm not gonna go through all the figures, there's 6 pages of that, but just give you an idea of some of the things that's important to the township. Is that we have the township operating funds, which we were to collect $257,666.20. We've collected $244,862.69, which is very good. Administration fee, which pays for the assessing department somewhat. Right now, we're sitting at $77,543.71, with a total amount will be in the $83,000 amount. The county does pay us that, what we don't collect, because they're gonna collect it on the delinquent taxes. That's primarily where it's at. Summer taxes are 94.5% collected. The winter taxes are at 90% collected. So, but we still got a few more days here, 13 days to get some more funds in on that. Like I say, there's multiple figures here. So far for the year, for the whole tax season, of the $8,578,816.14, we've collected $7,954,264.79. And we'll give you the rest of the financials. Cash distribution account is setting at $1,511,905.57. The check distribution account, which that's all the checks that go to the bank now, are at $301,772.65. Public funds saving account for Grace Memorial Senior Living is $18,586.58. The tax account is setting at $1,494,189.01. That'll primarily all be out of there by the middle of next month. Trust and agency, which is some performance bonds and some payroll information, is at $43,576.57. That will be almost zero when we get the payroll account set up. I don't know what's holding that up. They need to put some accounts in there, I guess, from, I don't know, I guess it's bookkeeper's side or whatever to take care of that. Utility account is setting at $1,249,476.50. bringing a total of cash on hand to $4,619,506.88. We have 4 CDs. These are the same figures as last meeting. They only update once a month. 105,578.53 at Advia, which is the general fund CD. North Star and Tri-Counties are all water funds. They're setting at 207, North Star's first one is $273,358.79. Second North Star one is $254,942.52. That one was only put in a year or so ago. Tri-County is setting at $274,583.47. That's now a 3-month CD that'll be rolled over next month, with a total amount of funds of $5,527,970.19. That's all I've got.
All right, trustee Deland?
I just have a couple of questions. On the minutes from last meeting, I wasn't able to be here, but you talked about the Allen Road Sewer Project. Is that just over there where they're gonna do the development on the other side, over by Westwater? Came up here and-
Well, we got 2 things going on Allen Road. That is one of them.
Okay.
We are going to do a special assessment district for that. We met with the engineers last week to kind of go over how we're breaking up that special assessment. So they're going to create a table for us, and we'll move on. We'll have to have some public hearings on that and that sort of thing. So that is one of the things that's going on.
Okay.
The other thing on Allen Road is that we've talked about alternatives for the Allen Road lift station to provide some relief there, right? So they actually, when we were meeting with them the last time, they said, wait a second, why don't we rethink this and just take a force main from the lift station directly out over to Griswold. It'll have to run along the railroad tracks and up to Griswold. Our other alternatives were in the $5 million range. This would be in the $2 million range. So a lot better of a solution. The only thing we want to make sure is that the
Do we have a
lift
way to-
station currently has enough capacity to handle all of that.
Right.
But the problem is that everything after the lift station is gravity fed, and so we're running into some issues where it can surcharge if it gets too oversaturated, but that has to do with the fact that it's gravity on that side. So by making it a force main, we would eliminate that, provided that the station is sufficient to handle the load.
And my second question was, when we have the Parks public hearing, do you still have the Parks Committee still? I know you probably haven't had any meetings because it's winter and
Yeah.
whatever, but were you thinking about maybe starting it back?
I would
up?
like to have that
Trying
going.
to get some
I
more-
personally don't have the time to do
Yeah,
it, so,
but-
but they certainly, I mean,
Maybe somebody
committee
else
can meet.
could,
Yeah,
yeah, just because you did say, it's gonna be about what you wanna do and how you're gonna pay
yeah,
for it.
and actually it helps in grant applications as well. If you have that.
Maybe we could add that, looking for members.
Okay,
Okay, that's all I have.
trustee Bowen,
I have nothing.
trustee Riley?
Just one question on the Atkins Road that comes out to water, or wastewater.
Yep.
Excuse me, bottoms, not wastewater. There's a section in there which is kind of tough. That is going to be, is that a township deal, or is that something that's going to roll into the county area?
Nope, we got funding for that already, so.
Have we?
Yeah, we got a local road funding assistance from the county for that, so we're paying for half of it, they're paying for half of it.
Good.
That'll be a project that'll
Had
happen this
somebody
year.
mention that to me the other day, and I thought, that's an area that's got a lot of traffic in there, not a question.
It does, yeah.
Be
But,
nice if they could make it a little wider too.
well, yeah,
So, yeah, that project will happen this year.
okay, thank you.
Trustee Lokers?
Becky and I met with Neil and Interstate Capital. It was a good meeting.
Okay,
It was cool to see what's planned. I'm already getting people reaching out to me,
yeah,
questioning. A lot of people are concerned that the EDA director's still seeming to be involved in the whole thing, and there's a lot of people that don't particularly like that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't, so the EDA is, we're not members of the, we're not
Right.
members of the EDA. We haven't been for years. And one of the reasons was, is we felt that they should, if we're gonna pay them a membership, we should get some clearly defined benefit, and they never provided that, right? So there was no accountability there or anything of that nature. However, they do act on their own.
Sure.
As does the Detroit Regional Chamber. So I know a lot of the work that's been happening in that area has been the Detroit Regional Chamber and not the St. Clair County EDA. They've been using monies to do site surveys and some site preparation stuff. They don't have, none of them had any project. The investment company that we worked with was one that we've been working with for a long, or the Greg DeLone, I think is his name.
Yeah.
For a long time. He was with another company, now he's with this new one. But the EDA, specifically the Detroit Regional Chamber, has spent money on those properties, getting them, doing some studies and things that are necessary for a company to come in and build, so. And Dan did send me a message last week regarding some things, and it sounds like they're gonna invest some money in doing some other site preparation stuff, so.
Well, I had a contractor reach out to me who's also concerned about it. And I reached out to Neil, and I said, he owns 3 properties in the county, all pretty close to one another. And my concern is, he's a guest in this community, and that contractor told me they have yet to be paid for the work they did on that property.
So I guess my question though would be is who were they contracted with? Were they contracted with Detroit Regional EDA or St. Clair County EDA, or were they contracted directly with?
Yeah, that's what I reached out to Neil and asked him.
I mean, we wouldn't necessarily know any of that stuff. I mean, because that's all private business type stuff.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to know that though. but-
Yeah, because she was particularly irritated. She's like, we have to now go start to take the legal action.
Right.
Another thing I had too, I don't know if you remember this, when Mr. Josiah came and was talking about Mr. Strockman on his property.
Mhm.
I thought about it, and it made me think, well, if we have businesses, and it probably happens more than we know, but if we have businesses that are longstanding and they have to deal with stuff like that, I've looked, I can't find anything. Is there something in an ordinance that says, okay, if you want to act this way and inconvenience us, because now it's an inconvenience to us, we have to hear about it and all that stuff. Is there some level of maybe consequence to that person? Like, okay, if you are going to move forward, now it's going to cost you financially because you don't want to follow the rules. Because at this point, now he's causing, and Dave's a busy guy. He doesn't want to come here. He doesn't want to have to sit there.
Right.
So, I mean, for longstanding businesses that are following the rules, what do they get in return? I mean, does that person just get to file the paperwork as regular and not have to suffer any consequences for thinking they can just do whatever they want?
No, you can't do whatever you want, but the recourse for the township is somewhat limited, right? So we can ticket.
Yeah.
There are civil fines associated with ticketing. Those are all regulated by the state of Michigan. So they can't be above a certain level, which is a ridiculously low amount, by the way.
Sure.
It's like $500 maximum or something like that. And that we can't, outside of getting courts to back us up in a lot of these cases, we don't have police powers, so to speak. So it does create some difficulties in taking enforcement and taking it, not necessarily taking enforcement, but just be able to take it in a speedy fashion.
Sure.
It's really kind of what I want to say. So it doesn't matter if it's that situation or a blight situation.
Sure.
The process is kind of all the same for
Okay.
us. So there are recourses, but again, it's
Limited.
limited.
Well, it's good to know though. I mean, because I just see the frustration, in Dave, and I mean, he is my friend, so I'm biased.
Sure. Yeah.
But at the same time, I would speak out for anyone that's
Yeah.
a longstanding business and they have to deal with that, so.
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm sitting down here feeling kind of stupid because I don't know what he's up to.
So Dave has a lumber site
Yeah, he was here.
adjacent to his other site, and he processes wood.
Yeah,
Someone within that property next to it decided to start cleaning sand
oh,
and doing it with no certifications, no knowledge to us, and just blowing sand all over Dave's site.
okay.
So he's invested a lot of money on that site. He doesn't want to get his equipment sandblasted.
Not really, okay, I was just curious what
Yeah.
he was up to out there. Thank you.
Anything else, trustee Locust?
That's it.
All right, so we have and this would have been in your mailbox. It was Principles of Governance. It's something that MTA provided to us a long time ago. Several of our boards have signed this. And I'll just go ahead and read it. Basically, we're holding ourselves to a high standard. So by signing this, we'll be pledging to insist on the highest standards of ethical conduct by all who act on behalf of the township, bring credit, honor, and dignity to our public offices through collegial board deliberations and diligent, appropriate responses to constituent concerns, actively pursue education and knowledge and embrace best practices, treat all persons with dignity, respect, and impartiality without prejudice or discrimination, practice openness and transparency in our decisions and actions, cooperate in all reasonable ways with other governmental entities and consider the impact of our decisions may have outside of our township's borders, communicate to the public township issues, challenges, and successes, and welcome the active involvement of stakeholders to further the township's well-being, strive for compliance with all state and federal statutory requirements, refuse to participate in any decisions or activities for personal gain at the expense of the best interests of the township, and further the understanding of the obligations and responsibilities of American citizenship, democratic government, and freedom. So that would be our pledge. I think we do a pretty good job with this, honestly, and I think it's a good notice to the public that this is our intent as well by signing said document. So, questions or thoughts?
You have a master document we all signed.
I do, right here.
Nice.
So, would like you all to sign that. I think we all agree with what's in there, so I don't think that would be an issue, so. All right, anyone got anything else before we adjourn?
I have just one more
Yeah.
thing. So, about the water main break,
Mhm.
again, never ceases to amaze me what people will put on Facebook, should we buy them water? Should we, should we buy them dinner? Everybody
Yeah.
rude to them,
7 million
everything.
people died. I mean,
It,
it's-
but a couple people said they called over here and they were rude to them. And, maybe they were rude first, still not
Yeah.
an excuse, But I was just wondering, do we have, I'm sure we have a policy, we gotta be nice to people.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
But, they did say that the girl I talked to was rude and snippy and could have been there thousands call and they're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
call or.
Yeah, I mean, they are supposed to be
I know,
kind.
Yeah.
I will say that there were a lot of people that, we had one guy come into the office who was absolutely the opposite of that, right? I mean, he was just completely rude from start to finish. You try to be kind to those people, but, you do reach a personal point where you just get more matter of
It works
fact,
both
so to
ways,
speak. Yeah.
I mean, like the Dairy Queen in Marysville, it flat out says, if you're rude to our girls, we won't serve you, so.
Right.
But we don't really have that option. But I was just, I'm sure they tried to do their best.
Yeah, I
in
mean,
the
it's something
situations.
I'll review. I mean, I've heard some things. Sometimes it's just, I think in these cases, you need to have empathy with people, and it's, I I live on a well.
Well,
I mean,
I-
so
you
if
know,
we have no
I-
power, I have no water,
And
right? So, I
Becky
mean,
told me it
and I
was
get no
gonna-
warning, you know, so.
We had people
But-
that were on wells that thought that they needed to boil their
They're
water.
gonna well,
But I do
Mother.
understand, you know, if you've,
Same.
if you've become accustomed to that service and all of a sudden it's gone, it's, you know, me as a property owner who understands the consequences of being on the well, you know, I know what I need to do in that case, you know. But people who aren't in that situation, they're definitely not prepared for that. And it's tough, so. But yes, we'll talk to the office.
yeah, I was just wondering.
I'm gonna defend them because this all takes place right at the heat of tax season. And they're hurried, they're rushed and everything else. And they could be just talking fast and some of
Sure.
the things that's
Yeah.
rude. So,
Yeah,
And
I
I
mean,
have to-
if somebody doesn't hear what they want to hear, you're
Yeah.
rude to them, you know, so.
yeah, and we were one person short actually during the whole tax season, so that, yeah, some of that's my fault because how I voted way back then. But anyway, those two girls, Shelley Gilbert and Emily Maps, did a heck of a job. The best job I've seen done in the tax season for the 16 years I've been here. So I can't, David, whoever's on the other end of the line, or, we've got some people in here in the last month that have been a little abrasive at the window, and they try to control them, but, you know. But I have to defend them for the work they did do, so.
Good.
Okay. One more question. One more.
Yes, sir.
I came in during that water thing, I came in the office here, they were very nice to me, they were getting so many phone calls, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were on their cell phones, actually,
So
because the phones were,
Yeah.
they couldn't get
we
through.
only have 8 open lines at any one time, 8. That's what we have. So if we have so many people calling in at one time, our phone lines went, like, we couldn't make calls, we couldn't accept calls. It went down. That's how many calls we had.
That's how we called all the restaurants and schools were off our cell phones.
We only had to do it for a little bit, but we're not gonna bump up because it costs more money to put 16 lines in.
Well, I mean,
16
for
lines.
8 lines, I mean, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
I mean,
Especially when you got,
yeah.
what, 3, 4 people
Yeah.
handling them?
Right,
Yeah, it's one in each end.
I've got one more thing, Rob.
sure.
I was really pleased when me and Becky were sitting down with Greg and everybody, that the only conditions that property was able to be bought was that he opened those ponds up to public fishing, and he's required to build a nice park. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I thought that was nice too, they're
Yeah,
turning
like
the park
that's,
over to us.
he wouldn't sell it to him unless he agreed to those terms.
yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, and, I mean, Offers had actually offered us that property, on like a lease term
It's a lot.
for $1.
$1.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
The problem is that if you invest anything in there, then you turn around and sell it, your investment's gone, right?
Yeah.
So it didn't make a whole lot of sense. So Tamer is, I mean, Mustafa's obviously passed away, but his son Tamer's still wanted to kind of keep that legacy, so, yeah.
I do remember, you know, like when they first started putting that sports arena up, there was a lot of lawsuits and stuff, and a lot of contractors were not getting paid, and that's why they got, you know, they pulled out. And then I don't know what happened, if there was a bankruptcy or what there was, but I think there were still some some contractors that never did get paid
Yeah, a lot
for
of
the
it.
work they did.
Yeah, I think they had to clear up all those liens, though, before
Yeah.
they sold the property.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's good.
All right, anything else? All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 7:39.
Sport.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned.